Hello everyone, hello Dreamy Space, how's it going? I hope that you are well. So good to see you guys again. I have not been feeling well, but so I did postpone the the live stream in the Telegram group. So if you're not a part of the Telegram community and you would like updates on the live streams, on video topics, and you guys would like to discuss that before I even make my content, then head over to Telegram. And then, of course, if you want direct influence over the content that I make and have direct access to me through my inbox, then you can become a Patreon on top of that, you also get exclusive content that isn't offered publicly, and you get to see the content on this channel early. So, kind of cool. So I did ask you guys on Telegram what you would like to discuss today for the live stream. And you guys really wanted to talk about dream symbolism, and this is something that I do in a lot of my sessions as well. Even if you just get, we just talk about how to lucid dream or astral project. A lot of clients will go grab their dream journals and we'll discuss some dreams that they've had. And I'll take notes and we'll kind of discuss it, and we'll work on decoding it and looking at the symbolism within the dreams that you guys have. And so there have been a few people that wanted to kind of discuss dream symbolism and how it can show up in your dreams. And there's some misunderstandings with symbolism. A lot of the time we think that it's going to be like literally the subconscious saying something directly to us, or something like really clear that's happening in the dream that kind of answers our questions or is a direct message from the subconscious, but the subconscious is actually speaking to you throughout the entire dream, and it's woven into your entire dream. So I want to discuss that, and then if you guys have any questions or anything, please also leave them in the comments, as I do chat with you guys directly through the comments throughout all of my live streams. So if this is your first time here, hello, my name is Haley. I go by the Lucid Mystic on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm a lucid dreaming and out-of-body experience coach, and I help people induce altered states of consciousness like lucid dreaming, liminal dreaming, out-of-body experiences for life transformation, healing, and growth. Hello, Cypher, Dream Space, Matthew, how is it going? So good to see you guys again. And again, I do my live streams every Monday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, but sometimes we will have to push it if I'm not feeling well or something comes up. So I appreciate you guys for understanding and allowing me to kind of communicate that to you when we need to kind of shift times and things like that for some of our live streams. And also I will be doing several classes for Patreon, including breathwork sessions. I know you guys want to see a lot of that on this channel, so we will still be doing some breathwork sessions on here. But if you're looking for consistent, like monthly breathwork, then please get in touch with me, and I'll let you know how I can support you in consistent monthly breathwork, so you don't just have to wait for the live stream when we do it. Have you ever tried to win the lottery within a lucid dream? I have tried. Well, what do you mean by that? So do you mean like actually winning a lottery in the dream, getting lottery numbers from the dream for waking life? Because winning the lottery could represent so many things. It could actually be the lottery. Because we're talking about symbolism, I want to see exactly what you mean, because lottery to me could totally look like something else to you. But if you mean the actual lottery, like getting numbers inside the dream and using that for waking life, I've intended to have that. There's been some like big lotteries around here. I don't really know anything about them, or I think I've literally gotten numbers for lottery twice, and both of those were with a friend. And there was one, I think it was called like Powerball or something, a couple years ago, and I did intend to have a dream where I could see if I could get numbers and just see if it's right, and I did not have that dream. But I also think that that's kind of the subconscious's way of creating, like, this is what you can do, maybe this is what you can't do. And I definitely believe that we can get lottery numbers and stuff like that from our dreams, but I also wasn't dedicated on going to get tons of tickets and doing it, so that also might be why. It was like, you don't even need this information, you're not going to do much with it. But I'm sure it totally is possible, especially a lot of the things that I've seen happen through these states. So personally, I haven't fulfilled that experience and actually had that dream and applied it, but I definitely know that it is possible, but the subconscious knows what's going to be helpful to you and what you really won't benefit too much from. So if it didn't think that I was going to do anything with it anyways, then why would it use the energy to get me lucid or something, to get me those numbers, if that makes sense. Hello Rory, how is it going? So good to have you here. So we're actually we're going to be touching on what you and I discussed, Rory, in the Telegram chat about symbolism, how that shows up in our dreams, and then if you guys have any questions throughout that process, please leave them in the chat and I will get to them. That's what I'm working on right now. Oh, interesting. It is totally possible. Like, I healed incurable digestive issues through dream work. So I definitely believe that that is something that is possible too. I really believe in the power of consciousness and our ability to access it through these states. I really do believe that we can access our infinite potential without the interference of our ego conscious mind in these states. So that's why I always recommend using this work in any way that you can, because we can still do all this work in the waking state, but we have that barrier because of the ego conscious mind. It's filtering all of the information that's coming in, what it believes to be true, what it believes will be useful, what it believes based on experiences or other people's experiences, and we don't have that filter within the dream state. We have a direct connection to our subconscious mind and to infinite potential, and you notice there's not a lot of back talk in your mind in dreams. Like, when you want to do something, there's not a lot of doubt and back talk and like constant talking or thinking in your head. You're pretty clear, and that's because a big part of your conscious mind is turned off. So it makes it easy to get certain answers, to see things from a different perspective without that filter of like, this is what I believe, this is what I reject. That's the conscious mind's job, is to kind of help us survive in this conscious reality and to help us filter information so we can kind of really solidify our narrative. But if we want to grow and we want to heal and we want to understand things from a different perspective, we can see how that barrier can get in the way, which is why habits are sometimes difficult to implement, right? Because it's that barrier that's trying to filter what's useful to you, what's going to be the easiest for you, what you actually want to do. But in the dream state, you're a lot more open to new ideas, and it's just easier to learn and to grow without that kind of barrier in the way. So that's why I also recommend anything that you're doing in waking life, any practices based on like reality shifting or implementing habits or building your business or whatever it may be. I definitely recommend using the dream state as well, because that will be able to show you a different perspective, a different side of things. You won't have that voice that's constantly narrating what's going on and choosing for you almost, like you're a lot more present and open. And so I think that using that state to be as a combination to any work that we do, I think is really powerful. Yes, me too, Rory. Have you ever felt that you have manifested something into waking life that you experience in a dream? Totally. And I use my dream state for kind of like the playground for my waking life. That's where I see that anything is possible. My true potential is being shown to me, and literally when I go into the dream state, I am literally entering the field of infinite possibilities, and it goes as far as my mind can go. And because I don't have that filter, that ego part of my mind that's like narrating my whole experience, I can really be in the magic and the presence of the experience in my dreams, and I can learn a lot about myself, a lot about my creativity, because this entire world that we see in our dreams and our lucid dreams, that's created by you. Like, that's really incredible. And of course we all have one, we all have like collective dream worlds, but I think it's individualized to who we are, what we believe, what we love. And so we have this world of our own that's interconnected with other people's worlds, but it's a safe space where we can truly explore who we are. And it's just such a sacred, incredible space, and I do use that for a lot of my personal work that I'm working on in waking life, whether it's working through specific blocks, if it's like manifesting Washington or something like physical, even conversations that have been difficult to have with certain you know, members of my family. I have had that conversation with them in the dream state, and it's really beautiful, because if you have a family member that you don't feel like hears you or understands you, or maybe you guys have just had a rocky relationship and you just want to practice communicating with them, or you just want to feel a connection to them, I feel like using your dream state for that is incredible. I had a talk with my mom one time within the dream state, and it was like there was no wall up, you know, there wasn't any of these barriers that we experience in waking life as humans when connecting with others. It was just so open and receptive, and I was looking into her eyes. I woke up shortly after this, but I was just looking at her eyes, and I was just so amazed that I'm dreaming right now, but there was so much soul and life in her eyes, and it was like I got to see her, like, soul that was stripped away from the human condition, you know, and I was able to communicate with her on that level, and for some reason I felt like that actually was connecting to her energy in some way. And so manifestation is a huge topic with dreaming, because I mean, there's so many different levels to that healing and to, you know, the work that we can do. Cypher coming in with the $20. You are amazing. Thank you so much, Cypher. That is very kind of you to do. Your guys' support is what allows me to keep doing what I'm doing, and even you guys just being here and resonating with what I'm talking about means so much to me. So Cypher, thank you so much for the $20, my friend. Your support is like greatly appreciated. It's so motivating. Thank you. Of course. And guys, if you have specific symbols that you would like to send, you know, or put in the chat that you notice come up in your dreams, we can also talk about those as well. I'm going to go through a couple questions that I've gotten, and that will they'll probably help kind of freshen up your mind when it comes to what's showing up in your dreams, and then we can kind of discuss from there as well. Do you think it would be too broad to try to have a visitation with your emotional state at large? I would try to connect to specific emotions. So whatever, I would identify it to the specific emotion that you want to connect to. And for those of you who don't know, I do talk about an emotions wheel a lot. And we think we understand our emotions, but they're way more vast and complex than we give them credit for. And we can see that when we pull up, you can just type in emotions wheel on Google Images, and it's this whole wheel of different emotions, and it really helps us identify how we're feeling, what we're feeling specifically, and then because we know the very specific emotion, it's very helpful for figuring out why we feel that way or what's causing that. And this is also something I talk about when we're like feeling feelings and releasing them and letting them go, instead of letting them like kind of build up in our body, and we're trying to push them down. I have work, I have school, I don't have time to feel this right now. Why am I feeling this? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, all of this baggage is topped on these emotions, when really, if we can fully be present with the feeling, identify the feeling, and totally let it pass through us and totally surrender to it and feel. And this is where it gets a little difficult to do, because we were taught to kind of avoid uncomfortable emotions, but when we do that, we can release these emotions. We can we remove the energetic baggage that has been stuck inside, if that makes sense. And dreaming, we can also release emotions and do a lot of deep inner work, like shadow work, inner child work. And so when it comes to this specific, I would use the emotions wheel, and I know we talked about that in our session a little bit, with kind of identifying how you're feeling, pulling out the emotions wheel and really sitting with that specific emotion. I would use the wheel to figure out what emotion you want to connect to in the dream, and it will ring true when you see it. You'll be going around emotions. Okay, yeah, I guess I feel this way. Okay, yeah, but there's going to be one where you're like, oh, that's it, you know. And working with your feelings is actually a direct tie to your intuition. So if you want to build your intuition, build your awareness of your feelings, because before something's totally wrong, you get little symptoms in your body, you get little sensations, and it's different for everybody. And like the way that you feel anxiety in your body is going to be different than how I feel it, right? And so when you feel a disturbance inside, you feel uncomfortable, you feel triggered, or you feel an emotion come up, when you sit with it and you can kind of identify where it is in the body. For anxiety, I hold it in my stomach, which a lot of people do. but you kind of work your way down. You start to feel, oh, my jaw gets a little bit more tight with this feeling, anxiety. Okay, got it. Okay, this is how it affects my shoulders, and you work your way down, but you find the main area of where this emotion sits in your body, and then you figure out what color is this emotion. Is it a hard or soft emotion if I had to give it like a feeling? Does it move around, or is it stationary in my body? And then lastly, what is it trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? And all of a sudden, you will start to get ideas, or things will start to come up from your past, or you just have this like aha moment, or something happens where your body's communicating with you directly, and it's very, very powerful. So I definitely recommend you guys to try that. But when it comes to connecting with your emotion in a dream, I'd get extremely specific on that specific emotion, and then call out to that archetype directly. So even if you're feeling like anxious or sad, there's a million emotions within that category. So I would like get as specific as you can, and that's really going to help the dream as well. You guys know that if you go into a dream and you're like, what do I need to hear right now? That's pretty vague, and it's going to probably joke around with you and say something sarcastic, or like, who knows. But the more specific you can get, that's really going to help out the dream. It's also going to be less energy for the dream, because we have to remember that this is like an energetic world that is being created when you're on the edge of sleep. You're just barely asleep. When we're in REM sleep, REM dreaming sleep, this is the most awake that our brain is. Like, our brainwaves are more active in REM sleep than we are when we're awake. And so it's this like very sensitive state where you could wake up really any moment, and if you have too much energy within the dream, it can cause the dream to crumble and fade away. Like if you're getting a little bit freaky in your dreams, that's something that everybody talks about all the time, and I'm like, hey, if you could learn one thing to do in your lucid dreams or whatever, what would you use it for? You all are freaks. And that's why your dreams are ending so fast, because that's so much energy. It's like when you have a really scary dream, or like you get super excited because you just got lucid and you wake up. All of this is just like excess energy. It's a lot of energy for the dream to handle. So when you're calling in an emotion, emotion is literally energy. Emotions are energy in motion. And so when you're working with something like that in the dream realm, you really want to be specific, so it's a lot easier for your dream to create, and it doesn't take as much energy, if that makes sense. So apply that as you will. If you use too much energy in your dreams, and the dream is not stable enough to handle it, then what you're doing, you probably need to find another way to go about it. But that's the cool thing with dreaming, is it's so creative. There's a million ways to connect to your fears. There's a million ways to communicate with your subconscious mind. There's a million ways to, learn more about yourself. It's just kind of figuring out the best way for you. I personally believe using our power for such things as lottery numbers is personal gain. I don't think that's how our subconscious mind should be used. I definitely agree, and I feel like that's why there's a block. And I get why people want to try it, because they want to verify that it's a real experience. But yeah, that's also why I think that when we try to do these things, or maybe, we just want to have a dream to, get a little wild, or like fulfill some sort of fantasy that doesn't really benefit us in the moment, the subconscious mind is extremely intelligent, and it's going to kind of create a barrier. It's not going to just give us what we want. And especially, it's like with the personal, like spiritual practice. You getting into spirituality because you want personal gain, and you want ease and flow, and you just want life to be like, whew. Well, no. That's not how the spiritual practice goes. There's a lot of healing. There's a lot of shit that comes up. There's a lot of things you got to change. You got to face all your fears, your discomfort. You got to learn boundaries. You got to learn how to take care of yourself. You got to come face to face with everything that you have done or said, or like anything that's happened to you that is truly preventing you from growing. Like, all that comes up with spirituality. So even though we have this like incredible practice that can create so much freedom and ease, the path to get there is extremely rocky for most, and I definitely believe that these experiences, like dreaming, out-of-body experiences, meditation, like deep states of like ecstasy, nirvana, like really being present, I don't think that personal gain or ego exist in those areas, which is why if you're trying to use the lucid dream state for something that benefits, it's like instant gratification in some way, you're probably going to have a hard time maintaining that dream. And I believe that's another reason why, aside from it being way too much energy, if you're just using the dream to like get freaky with your crush or whatever, you can become reliant on that. And I think that that takes away the magic and the power of the dreaming experience. Sure, you can explore, you can like live out, you know, some fantasies and like really do what you want in the world, but what's your intention behind what you're doing? I think that we've got to look at that when using such powerful states, and I think we should look at that always in life. Imagine if every person, before they did anything, they just asked, what is my intention with doing this? Before you send a really deep message to someone, what is my intention behind doing this? I think that would help us be so much more conscious in everything that we did. And if we just stopped to ask ourselves, what's my intention behind me doing this? If it was an intention that was in line with you, but you became aware of it and asked yourself that question, I don't think you would continue mindlessly to fulfilling that, if that makes sense. So I definitely agree. I think that these states should be used for some personal growth, some exploration, for understanding, for play, you know, but we need to see this space as a space that can be free from ego. It's naturally free from the ego because when we're dreaming, a lot of our conscious mind is turned off, which is why we don't like think or rationalize super deeply. We don't like shame ourselves in the dream for doing something. You know, that part of our brain is turned off. But why is that turned off? Well, I believe a big part of it is because it doesn't need to exist there. So I don't think we should try to bring the ego into these powerful experiences that truly give us so much. You know, I don't think these experiences are meant for taking. I think they're meant for seeing and understanding. You know, it's like reading a book. You know, you read a book, no one really reads a book for selfish reasons. I mean, unless it was like a book that was like very like, I don't know, like misogynistic or like something crazy that you were like, hell yeah, I need to learn about this so I can use this to my gain, then it would be. But like when you think about reading, it's to gain knowledge, it's to understand something, it's to expand your awareness on something usually. And I think that we can really compare the dream state to reading a book. We're really just learning how to communicate with ourselves. We're learning our unique symbolism. We're expanding our mind with what's possible, and we're reconnecting with ourself in the process. So that's how I think of dreaming. Trying to lucid dream for 2 months now, but no luck yet. I do dream journals and still have trouble remembering my dreams. So when it comes to dream journaling, we gotta also remember that when we are doing dream journaling, if our brain thinks that it's too much work, if it's not important to us, if we don't have time, if we don't have energy, it's going to do everything it can to support that narrative. So if you are just kind of dream journaling, but you don't really take a lot of time to actually look at the dreams you're writing down, or you know, like it's hard for you to truly remember to write down your dreams, or you just don't really feel connected to your dreams on some level, your brain thinks, doesn't mean it's right, but your brain thinks that it's not important. So what I would do, I like to get like giddy excited about dreams, and of course like I talk about it constantly, right? So like I talk about it constantly, I'm making videos on it, I'm like doing coaching and classes on it all the time, and it's also a huge part of my life. So I do get kind of, I do need to like spice it up in my practice a lot, you know, and do something new and exciting. So I would find what makes you incredibly excited to dream and to remember your dreams. And I think that this live stream will help because we're talking about dream symbolism and how to work with your dreams, whether they're lucid or non-lucid, you know, and I think that building on your dream work practice will naturally help you remember your dreams more. And when it comes to dream journaling, you want to write in it every single day, regardless if you remembered your dreams or not, because again, this is a memory building tool. It helps you build memory over time. So in order to do that, you need to be consistent in doing that. And it doesn't take very long, you know, like how I talk about my personal method is before bed, I'll plan my dream out. You don't have to do this, especially if you're just starting. I would do it in like steps. But I plan out the dreams that I want to have. And again, I have like a dream planning journal for that. We do have some videos on that on the channel. I think it's called just like 3-step lucid dream or 3-step dream plan or something. But I plan out the dream I want to have, I go to sleep, and first thing in the morning, before I do anything else, before I grab my phone, before anything, I will lay there for a couple minutes, when you can wake up, but your eyes are still closed, and you're kind of still seeing colors and stuff. That's the 𝑴𝒚𝒔𝒕𝒄𝒔 state. So we're very familiar with the 𝑴𝒚𝒔𝒂𝒔𝒄 state, which is, you know, between wakefulness and sleep. and this is when we're falling into sleep. But the hypnopompic state, it's the same exact state except when we're coming out of sleep. And during the hypnopompic and the hypnagogic state, our subconscious mind is wide open and our conscious mind is not fully on yet, which is why we like sometimes don't make sense when we're waking up, or like, you know, the voices in your head, like when you're talking to yourself, thinking about your day, sometimes doesn't really make complete sense, and that's because your conscious mind is still pretty turned off. So within this state, you can actually recall your dreams pretty easily because you don't have the stimuli from, you know, being completely conscious and awake. And dream recall and being fully consciously stimulated, those exist on two separate planes. You need to be in a really like chill, like theta wave type state to best recall your dreams. So I would do this as soon as you wake up. Just ask yourself a couple questions like, what did I remember? Do I remember, you know, where I was or who I was with? What emotions I was feeling? How did I feel when I was waking up? You know, and then just grab your dream journal, write down the date and time in the top right corner, and then just write down what you remember. And it could be something as vague as, I remember I dreamt, but don't remember detail, or no recall, or I remember waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and that's all that I remember, or I woke up in pain, or I woke up sad, or I woke up and this song was playing in my head. Like, whatever you want to write, just write it down. It doesn't have to be, there's no, like, you can literally write, like, no recall, or even abbreviate that if, like, you really don't want to write in it. But I think the consistency with it is what's most important, because the more you do it, your brain's like, oh, this is actually a priority. This is a habit we're building. This is something that, you know, is important. Okay, I'm going to start saving more energy for this task because I know now it's important. And what comes with your brain saving more energy for writing down your dreams is you're going to have more recall because your brain now sees it as a priority. And it already has all that recall, by the way. But it doesn't go anywhere. It's just not in the conscious mind when we don't see it as something that we're going to use or something that's, you know, beneficial to us. And then, of course, once you write down your dreams, you can, if you want to take it a step further, I give my dreams a title, like a book title. So if you were, you know, looking back through your dreams, you would be able to easily identify your dreams based on the titles that you gave them. So if you were to summarize a dream, you know, you could like say it's like a movie and you need to summarize it to tell someone about it, you know, like that's kind of what you want to write in your dream journal entry if you don't have a lot of time, just like how you would summarize the experience. But if you have time and you want to write it all down, cool. I mean, there's probably symbolism in all of it, so, but at least write down the, you know, the important points, and then the title is just how you would summarize the dream. If it was a movie, like what would be the title of the book or the movie, you know? And then, of course, getting into symbolism, you want to start looking at the points that have the biggest emotional connections to you. So if there's a specific person that shows up in your dream, if you're really scared during your dream, if you're really disgusted, or like something, you know, something that really stands out in the dream, that's where we want to start decoding. And we'll kind of get into that in a moment. The lottery is about chance. If I can increase my chances, I don't see that as personal gain. It's like manifesting. I definitely agree. I think it can go either way. Again, it just, yeah, depends on your intention. Like for me, when I was trying to get a lottery number, it's not like I was going to use it because I didn't even go get tickets for it. So like, why would the universe or like my subconscious mind take time to get me those numbers if I wasn't really going to do anything with it? But I think my intention mostly behind it was experimentation. I'm very fascinated with these states and verifying some of the stuff in these states, if that makes sense. Like I do that with my out-of-body experiences as well. Sometimes I'll have Chance have like candies or put something on his desk in a certain area, and I'll literally go try to induce an out-of-body experience and tell him what it was. And I've been doing that we've been together for like 8 years, and I've been doing that most of our relationship. So I think that's definitely naturally one of my biggest passions is like exploring these states and like just like verifying what I can and like running my own experiments, you know. That's kind of how I use it. So let's see. I love also being able to express hurt and anger at people in the dream space, especially when past traumas are concerned. Absolutely, and that's totally what I used it for. And it was crazy because she was like way like receptive. And even in waking life, that's kind of difficult. Like even today, we did have a conversation, and you can be your most honest self and come from such a place of love and like just like, this is where I'm at, this is where it's hard for me to heal, this is what I'm doing to try to heal, and I want to let you know like that I love you and I'm working through the best I can. We can say something like that, but the other person can still be hurt or take it personally, or it can still cause an argument regardless of how honest and loving and genuine you're trying to be. And so I think that the dream state has a very powerful advantage when it comes to working through things, because a lot of the time with trauma we just want to express how we're feeling, what we've gone through. That was definitely something that was important to me for my like healing my inner, like my childhood, and my inner child was being able to speak it, because I felt like I was never able to speak and really be honest. And so that's one way that you can heal your inner child, is just by practicing being honest and speaking your truth regardless of what people think of you. See, we can do this work in the waking state as well, but with the dream state it takes it to a whole new level, because you can go back in time and actually visit that childhood version of you and talk to them and say the things that you wish were said to you within that moment that was very hard for you to process even years later. You can go back and communicate with other certain people, make up friendships, and literally just hug them and feel like the release of energy and pain. Even though it's through a dream experience, your brain doesn't know that. And so when you resolve trauma or pain within your dream, your brain thinks you are awake, actually resolving the trauma with that person right then and there. Like, so even if it's someone that you feel like you have a lot of pain attached to, maybe you guys don't even talk anymore, you can go in the dream state and like release that energy with that person. You can literally say goodbye to them within your dream, or have a really beautiful sacred connection that you may not be able to experience in waking life. So I definitely agree with that. Common symbol I see in my dreams is driving along an expressway. Do you have any like experiences with that in particular? What's your opinion of this expressway? If I was to say that that was a code word for something or a hidden meaning to something, what do you think that would mean? And that's kind of where we're going with symbolism, is you'll have random things show up in your dreams and it means something specific to you based on how you see that symbol, based on how you perceive it, based on what you believe to be true about it. And that's kind of how we decode our dreams. I've been seeing cats in my dreams lately. I've actually made a lucidity trigger lately. That's super awesome. What's your relationship with cats? How do you see them? I've only had like 1 or 2 cats in my entire life. I'm definitely a big dog kind of person. Like I've had like all labs. I have a German Shepherd right now. I love like I love like big dogs, and that to me is just a symbol of like love and play and like innocence almost. Cats, it has more of like a magical kind of like, not darker meaning. It's just like more mysterious. I feel like cats are more mysterious, and dogs are just like, hello, here I am. This is your inner child speaking. At least to me, that's how I perceive them. I definitely have trouble with having too much energy trying to fly or swim. In your dreams? You have it's hard to, okay. What you would do, I would probably try to stabilize first. I'm not sure what you do before that, but a lot of people, they'll get lucid and then they'll try to just like run, or just immediately try to fly, or immediately, okay, I'm lucid, I have limited time, I gotta act and I gotta do what I came here to do. But that could cause the dream to crumble and fade, because we haven't completely allowed the dream to like load. That's pretty much what it is. We're not allowing the dream to fully like load and render and process, and we're just like trying to interrupt the process and just like, and so it just definitely makes it more difficult. Have anyone ever experienced saying to yourself within the dream that it's a dream? Yep, and that is the essence of a lucid dream. Once you know you are dreaming, as you are dreaming, that is a lucid dream. So if you ever have to question if you had a lucid dream or not, was there some point in the dream where you were aware of the fact that you were dreaming as you were dreaming? If so, that was a lucid dream. Even having like a nightmare when you were younger and trying to wake yourself up, that was a lucid dream, because you obviously knew on some level you were dreaming, or else you wouldn't have tried to wake yourself up. So yes, that is the definition of a lucid dream, is just being aware of the fact that you're dreaming as you're dreaming. Even if you don't have control, even if the dream ends really fast, if there's at some point where you know that it's a dream while it's happening, that is a lucid dream in itself. So I want to touch on a couple questions that I got. The first one is, do all dreams have symbolism? And I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think there's some dreams that really don't have symbolism in it? Or do you think all dreams, there is some sort of symbolism or message in there for us? I want to hear what you guys think. Is everything a symbol? Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think every dream has symbolism? Or do you think that there's some dreams that's literally just kind of leftover residual stuff from the day? And I definitely know it can get a little bit overwhelming and analyzing symbolism, because every little, this is what I say to my clients, I say, every damn dream, there's something in there for you. Every dream, there's something in there for you, even if you don't think that it's there. So my answer, I definitely think all of our dreams have something to do with our waking life, or something is trying to tell us something about ourselves or possibly others around us. Absolutely. And I agree. I definitely think there's something within every single dream that is helping us understand something, that is helping us learn something, that is helping us resolve something. Anything like that. I definitely think that they all kind of connect to our waking lives. And that's why I always say that if you want to understand kind of where you are in waking life, on more of an energetic plane, look to your dreams and the symbols that show up in your dreams, and what you're dreaming about, and the emotions that show up in your dreams. Because if you're like, yeah, everything's fine, I'm having a great life, great day, everything's just fantastic, but you're having night terrors every single night, I would probably say that there is something in there subconsciously that is really, really trying to speak to you. And of course, it's different for everybody, but I definitely believe that the stronger the energy is in the dreams, the louder the message. So I'm going to say that again. The stronger the energy in your dreams, the louder the message. So if you ever have a dream that feels really energetically charged, then there's most likely something really important in there that your subconscious wants you to know or wants you to remember. So before you fully dive into the symbolism in your dreams, ask yourself how much energy is present in this dream. Like nightmares, they have really present energy, right? And nightmares have really intense energy, but that's because there's a really powerful, strong message attached to that, and there's a lot of energy behind our fears, and that deeper part of us that we don't like to look at. So the more important the message is, I think the louder the dream will be, and you will know when a dream is speaking to you loudly. So to answer the question, do all dreams have symbolism? Yes, all dreams do have symbolism on some level, and I think that it's almost like looking through a kaleidoscope. It only goes as far as you're willing to go. The rabbit hole goes as far as you are willing to go. And I really think there's a limit to that. It's almost like those paintings or those pictures where I saw one the other day. It was like weird. It was like this, just a standard painting that someone painted, but you'd like zoom in on like the picture that the person was holding in the painting or whatever, and then there would be a whole world within that, and then you zoom in something within that world, and it just keeps opening up, opening up, opening up. And it's like multiple lifetimes and stories and symbolism and like whole worlds that you would have not even seen on the surface. I believe that's how dreaming is. The farther you look, the more you're going to find. And I think if you're looking for some deep answers and deep meanings in your dreams, you're gonna find them, but you gotta go deeper than, you know, on the surface level. And the more interested and curious and open we become, the more profound and meaningful our dreams become, because your brain, your being, your subconscious, it knows that you're listening. Let me see. Can you please save this live to watch later? Yes. So any of my live streams, I think they do pop up as a normal video like 24 hours or less after the live stream. So yes, this will definitely be on there. And I do save all of my live streams in a playlist, so you'll be able to find that. But yeah, this should be up like 24 hours or less after this live stream. But the deeper you're willing to look within the dream, I think the more that you're going to find. Now, this is a big question that people have. And the symbolism, by the way, it's most likely to do with something you're worried about in waking life, something that is suppressed, like something you're trying to figure out, something that's gone unresolved, like a block that you're experiencing, any resistance, any disturbances in your life. I think that the symbolism is going to be catering towards what you need at the time, or maybe what you don't know that you need. You know, a lot of the time suppressed shit comes up and we didn't even know that it was there, and we didn't even know that we needed to heal it, but it's because we reached a level in consciousness and awareness where we were able to handle it, and so now it's presented to us. So just know that whatever you dream about, I truly believe the subconscious mind would not give you more than you can handle. I think that everything is there for us. And so in all experiences, even nightmares, ask yourself, what is in this for me, right? And there's a couple questions that we want to ask when it comes to symbolism. So when you're deciphering your dreams, I would look at the main points, the main things that stand out. If you were going to summarize this dream to someone, what are the parts you would talk about? You know, those are most likely the most prominent, important parts of the dream. So I would identify those, like the major points of the dream, the energy in the dream, like the overall energy. Was it like happy and uplifting? Was it confusing? Were you guys trying to like find something? You know, was there a lot of like anger? Like, what was the main emotion? And you can list multiple if there was multiple emotions. So find the main emotion in your dream. So we have find the major points, the main theme, or the main emotion, and now the theme of the dream. What was the theme of your dream? Were you, like I said, looking for something? Were you running away from something? Were you trying to figure something out? Were you like creating something and it like wasn't good enough for someone? Like you were back in school or something, you know, like what was the theme of the dream? What was happening? Like for example, when I dream of a school, most of the time I'm lost. I have my locker number and my classes, and I have no idea where the hell they are, and I'm spending like half of the dream, like half of the school day trying to find my class or my locker, going into the wrong class, getting really confused, like not being able to find help even when I ask for it, like, hello, like, can anyone help me? I literally cannot find my class or my locker, or this is, you know, and like just confusion and just like aimlessly wandering, like confused. That's the main theme for when I dream of school. So that's kind of what you want to look for, is the theme of like what's going on, what's the vibe kind of deal, you know, in your dreams. And this will really help you decode the symbolism, because then you can look at the emotion, the theme, and how they apply to your life and waking life or past experiences, and then the major points and kind of what you believe about those points. Like if you dream of your mom, okay, well, do you have a good relationship with your mother? Do you have a difficult relationship with your mother? Like, what is the energy behind that relationship? Because the dream's probably not about your mom. I mean, it totally could be, but it also could be what she represents to you is what the dream is using to speak to you directly, if that makes sense. Okay, let's see. How does your subconscious speak to you while dreaming? Now, this is an interesting topic because we usually think that it's someone that just like comes up to us. Hey, I represent this, or I represent your fear, or, you know, we just kind of expect it to be spelt out for us in a lot of ways. But when your subconscious mind speaks to you, it's woven in the walls, it's woven in the entire dream. It is literally woven in everything. For example, like there was a dream where I really wanted to connect to my teenage self. And I didn't see my teenage self. I didn't see anything that reminded me of her. And so I just assumed that it wasn't about my teenage self. But I was looking through the dream, and the energy of the dream, that was my teenage self. She was woven into every part of the dream. The weather, like that building that I was in, and the way that the walls were, and the furniture, like the music that was playing quietly in the background, like what people were wearing, you know, like it's like that was her speaking to me. And to get a message from that version of ourselves from a dream like that, you want to look at, again, the emotion, the energy that was present. What kind of feeling did the dream give you? And like, what were some things that you truly feel kind of resonated with you, or you felt related to how you used to feel or what you used to do or whatever, in a way, you know, it's like literally woven in to the walls. And it reminds me of the dream that you shared, Rory, with me in our call, how you didn't necessarily see that version of you, but how the house was, certain qualities like the tree outside, you know, like how that changed. And I'll mention that, so that in her dream there was this tree that has always been outside, but in the dream it was like it was just a tree stump, and it was very unstable, you know. And so little things like that, little changes in the dream world that kind of relate to something in waking life that are the same, that really don't change, but it changes in the dream. And how did it change? Like, there's symbolism even in that. So I would really dissect the dream in a way where you're dissecting and separating like the major points of the dream, the theme of the dream, emotions that were present in the dream, and then anything particular that stood out to you, you know, a specific person, a specific thing that happened in the dream. Yeah, and there was so much in there. And a lot of times we'll have a dream, we'll be like, I tried to connect to my inner child, or I tried to connect to this version of myself, and nothing happened. I just had this dream. And that's why I'm always like, let's dive into that. Share your dream if you feel comfortable, and I'm just going to listen, and I'm going to take notes. And I think that having someone you can share dreams with will also give you a different perspective of that dream and help us find things in it that we didn't necessarily find before. So definitely recommend sharing maybe some of your dreams with someone you trust, and seeing what they think. But also take it with a grain of salt, because your dream is really speaking to you and how you interpret things, the symbolism and the meaning that you give things. So if someone does help you decipher your dream, they should be asking mostly questions. Instead of like, oh, this has to mean this, this has to mean this. You want to ask yourself, well, what does this represent to you? Or what emotion do I give this object or this person? You know, like, you really want to see how you see the world, because how you see others and how you see the world and how you see specific images and objects and symbols, it's your subconscious is taking all of that into account and creating a story for you, creating a message, a story through images that are familiar to you, because it's trying to speak your language. Your subconscious mind thinks it's speaking your language. It's doing a pretty damn good job, if I don't say so myself. We just gotta learn now to speak its language of how it's communicating with us. You know, there's like a small language barrier between us and our subconscious mind. We speak verbally, and our subconscious mind speaks mostly through emotion and images. And so we have to find a way to verbalize the emotions and images that are coming through from our subconscious mind. Let's see. What do you think is the significance of dreams where you're back in a bad situation that you in reality have gotten out of? Is it emotional processing or just having an anxiety dream? I definitely believe it's emotional processing, and I believe that anxiety dreams are attached to processing emotional trauma. So I think those are kind of one and the same, because an anxiety dream could definitely represent kind of a nightmare, and really what a nightmare is a disturbing dream on some degree. And when we are taken back into certain situations, it's important to know that that's how your subconscious mind is purging that situation and releasing it. So when we go through a traumatic situation, let's say we have a very traumatic situation in family or whatever it may be, if we cannot fully express and process our emotions at the time of the situation, then it's stored inside of our body. If it's too much for us to handle at the time, we don't know how to process it, we don't know how to handle it, and this is why we have a lot of like emotional stuff from childhood, because we were so young, we didn't know how to process our emotions, we didn't know how to articulate how we were feeling, we didn't know how to express our emotions freely, and a lot of us could not, right? We literally could not express how we were feeling because we didn't feel safe to do so. So if there's ever a moment like that in your life, but you can't process it in the moment, whether you push it down consciously, unconsciously, whatever it may be, your subconscious mind literally takes a screenshot of that exact moment, where you are, who you're with, how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what happened, and it saves that snapshot for later for you to process. Now, that's how emotions and memories are stored. They're literally stored in the body and in the psyche. So this is why when we do inner child work now as adults, or we process traumatic or emotional experiences that happened like forever ago, it feels like we're back in the moment, right? It literally feels like we're that same age again. We have the such fresh emotions with it, like it just happened yesterday. We remember what we were thinking, sometimes we can remember what we were wearing, and a lot of people that were involved are like, oh, that didn't happen, your memory's too good, or no, I remember it a different way. But what people don't understand is when you have a traumatic experience, you save that very specific memory and situation of that moment, and it's literally stored inside your mind and your body, and it has nowhere to go. And if we are not consciously processing it, and sometimes we just don't know we need to because we haven't been taught how to feel feelings before they come up, so we just, we feel a little off when we go about our day. We have no idea that that is a sign that there is something boiling inside of us that we literally need to work with from when we were 6. We don't know that. We feel a little off, we shake it off, we do something, and little do we know we're actually suppressing that further. But it's not our fault. We didn't know that. And so when that happens, the only way that your brain knows, the only way that your psyche knows how to process these emotions is through dreams, because that's when your ego's turned off. That's when you're kind of awake, because your brain waves are more awake when we're dreaming than even when we're awake, right? And we're receptive, we're open, our subconscious mind is open, and so this is your brain's way of processing stuff that's stuck in the body, right? And it's like when we're trying to figure out, oh, what was the actor in that movie? Like, it's gonna drive me crazy. I'm sure you've had that moment. And if you just thought about it forever until you figured out who the actor was, you'd drive yourself insane. So you stop thinking about it, but your brain doesn't. And your brain's working overtime, subconsciously. You don't even know. Your brain's working overtime to figure out the name of this actor in this movie. And then maybe 3 days later, you actually dream of it and you get the answer. Or you spontaneously just know out of nowhere. You're like, oh, I thought of it. It's because your brain has been working really, really hard on the back end to help you resolve that, to help you resolve what was missing or what you couldn't figure out. And so when we're resolving pain and emotions, it's actually the same thing. From the moment that it happens, your body is trying to figure out how to process that through body and through psyche. And a lot of us don't even know, right? Because a lot of us haven't been trained to kind of pick up on these little subtle cues that we do get from the body, by the way. We do get them. And the more you work with them, the more you can start to become conscious and aware of how you're feeling and really work with it as it comes up, you'll really build a really strong intelligence with the body. But until then, like, the only way that your body knows how is to either blow up in waking life, like randomly, and you won't even know why you feel so emotional or hurt. It will just come out of nowhere, right? So there's no context, so you don't know how to necessarily handle it or heal it, because it was just an overflow of emotion that didn't allow you to necessarily see what it's connected to, you know? But in the dream state, the entire situation is present. You are back in that situation. Like, it can now play out what it needs to play out in order to release all the feelings attached in that moment. Your brain has to replay that moment to release the emotions attached to that moment. There's only a moment in life. Isn't that weird? There's only this present moment. This present moment is all that exists. So to heal, your brain has to reenact that moment, because that's where the emotion was created. That's where the trauma was created, in that moment, not this one. And so it had to recreate the scenario of that moment to be able to release it. Does that make sense? So that's literally how intelligent the brain is, and the body and the psyche when it comes to processing trauma and emotions. So if you have dreams like that, definitely know that that's probably what's happening. But you can also ask yourself questions, you know, when you wake up. How does this relate to me? What's the theme of this dream? Does this relate to a situation that I've had a hard time processing or letting go of? Does this remind me of any situation I've went through? You know, and just be willing to be present with whatever comes up, because as soon as we ask, that's like, ask and you shall receive. That is the truest thing ever. Even when it's with, you know, our body and we're trying to figure out what's wrong. If you ask your body to tell you, it will tell you. If you will yourself to dream about something, you will dream about that thing. You know, we just have to be willing to allow our emotions to speak. And it's uncomfortable as hell sometimes, but that's why your brain resorts to, you know, processing it through the dream state, because we don't really interfere with the process. So it gets a lot more done through dreams, unless we double down and we still work with these dreams as they come up, but we also see how we can work with that trauma and heal ourselves in waking life, which there's so many things we can do. I need to create a class on that. Also, the real mind-blowing part of it is the tree doesn't exist at all in reality. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, that changes things. I literally thought that was a tree that was always there, and then in the dream it was different. That's interesting. So that changes some things as well, because it could represent like something to do with kind of like the past, you know, because it was something that was always there, but now it's almost representing like what you may be going through in this moment. Does that make sense? That's so crazy. Hello, Dion. How is it going? That's crazy. Dreams are so wild. Yeah, you're like, it was all your inner the whole time. And you blew my absolute mind. It was so clear to me after you said that, but I didn't make that connection at all before. And that's why it's sometimes helpful just to kind of, you know, chat about your dreams with somebody, because it can kind of offer a different perspective. And some dreams, when I'm decoding them, I have to come back to them later, so I have more of a, you know, I'm not so involved in the whole dream emotionally. I've had some time to kind of disconnect a little bit so I can see a different kind of point of view. Yes, do. Yeah. Let's see. So that's kind of how your subconscious will speak to you while dreaming. It can come in the form of emotions, the theme, the images, the people, what the people are wearing, what the weather's like, what kind of plants are around, what music is playing, like everything. And when you're decoding your dreams, it's almost very helpful to see your dream as the canvas and you are the artist, because then like you can really dive deep into very specific details that you didn't see before and get a lot out of them. So try to, you know, train your brain to kind of see the world like an artist as well. Please do. I think everyone needs to do that, because it's just allows so much more magic to come up. But the same for your dreams. So try to see your dream state as you would if you were an artist who created the dream space. So we talked about unique symbolism, how really it's everything that's that relates to you on some level. Your brain is really using your perspective of life and other people and objects and themes and everything to create the message it's trying to give you. It's writing you a letter through images that are familiar to you. But there are some symbols that may be collective, which means we may all have a very similar meaning that we give that symbol. So, for example, and I have a question, and sometimes people ask about that. I don't really have a specific, connection or whatever to this. Is there something else it could represent? It could totally be the collective symbolism if it's nothing that really relates to you. And what I mean by that is if you see a dollar sign, for example, in a dream, that mostly represents like money or abundance on some level, right? That's something that's collective, where if you saw that in your dream, you would assume that it has to do with something financial related. Water, for a lot of people, represents emotions. Now, I agree that if water is present in your dreams, it could totally represent emotions, but for a lot of people, it doesn't. For example, like maybe you had trauma with water. Maybe it could represent one of your fears, right? And especially if you are in a dream where you're not able to stay afloat, I think that could represent so much more to you personally, and with where you feel you're at in life, or with a fear that you're facing in life. I think that that's much more likely than just, oh, this is representing, this and this about emotions. I believe that there is a level to collective symbolism, but we got to look at what our connection is to that specific object or symbol that is showing up in our dreams. So before you look at what the collective sees this like, before you look at what the collective gives this symbol or whatever showing up in your dreams, look at how you see it first. Look at your connections to it, and if it could be speaking to a specific point in your life or specific fear, things like that. Yeah, I love how when you recall a dream a couple hours later, your brain has coded only the emotional pivotal parts into a memory, so you don't have to sort through the memories as much. Yeah, I still remember that dream you had about taking a bath in carrots. Great example of symbolism not necessarily being personal to you. Exactly. Yeah, I had no idea what that meant, and I love that you remembered that, because I forgot about that until you said it. For those of you who didn't hear this dream, yeah, I dreamt that I was taking a bath in carrots, and it was totally normal. I was just like dumping some carrots in, kind of moving them around, kind of arranging them, and it was totally normal. I sat there for a little bit trying to think of what it could mean. What could this mean? Like bathing in carrots. I like carrots. I never did not like them, but I'm not like, I don't have any meanings or any hidden whatever about carrots, right? And so I did look up the collective meaning of carrots, and I learned that carrots could represent abundance, which kind of makes sense now that you think about it. But when I tied that back to my dream, it's like, okay, now bathing in abundance. What could this abundance be? It could be friendships. It could be financial, a change in my financial situation. It could be an abundance of love or experiences, and so from me just like bathing in carrots, what the hell does that mean? Now I got a message of like, it could be a turning point in my life where I'm actually experiencing more than I did before and actually able to bathe in what makes me feel good. So it's so cool how the dream can completely change just by identifying one piece of a symbol and kind of where it belongs or what it means to you. So if you don't have any idea what a symbol could mean to you, you can totally go with the collective symbol. You can, I wouldn't recommend just like asking people and going with what they say. I'd probably look into the deeper meaning of that symbol collectively, or if there's anything at all that ties back to you, that's probably what it is. That always comes first. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then like running away from something could represent avoidance in a dream, which is, I feel like, is pretty collective, right? So you'll notice there's certain symbols that are very like collective, that are obvious, like the dollar symbol for money, which of course if you had a totally different experience, that could totally mean something different, right? So you always want to come back to what you feel or how you relate to it first before you go to the collective symbol. The last thing I have is your subconscious uses your experiences, your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions, and your interpretations to speak to you directly in the dream. So just know that this is a very personal, individual journey when it comes to working with your dreams and decoding your dreams, but your subconscious mind is always there to help you and to help you heal. The body naturally has an inner drive towards healing, and we can see that because our cuts and our wounds and our bruises heal, right? It heals, our body heals automatically, and our psyche is the same way as the body when it comes to healing. But in order to heal, it needs to be able to express, right? And when we get cut or something, we can bleed, like we can express that. But when we have emotional damage or emotional wounds, it needs to find a way to express that in the same way the body does when it is physically hurt. So, and that comes through the form of our emotions, through working with trauma, with dreams coming up, you know, dreaming experiences, and learning to speak to your subconscious in this way is allowing you to speak to your inner self, the true you, to build your intuition and to create more curiosity about what you find out about yourself, because this should not be a super serious journey. We are borrowing these meat suits, honestly, to experience this human life, this human condition, and I'm just figuring out how this human works, what her likes are, what her dislikes are, how she processes emotions, how she communicates with others, what her talents, gifts, skills, abilities are. You know, you don't have to know everything about you right now, because you're figuring it out along with us all. We all kind of just got dropped here, you know, we're just figuring it out. And so make this process fun, you know, get curious, get a little bit more playful, have more grace for yourself, and just see the universe, consciousness, your subconscious speaking to you in an altered state where you can actually get divine answers to change and transform your life to be the best version of you that you can be, and to live a life of fulfillment, because that's really what this is about, is to create fulfillment, not only for ourselves, but for as many people as possible. And the only way to do that is for us to truly listen to the messages and the symbolism and the love that comes in through silence. And the dream state is a great representation of that inner mind, that peace, that silence. It's separate from this busy, chaotic world. And if we can learn to cultivate these experiences, like lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences, there's no doubt in my mind that not only can we transform our lives and who we are and how we show up, but we can also make this world a better place for everybody, because the more we know, the more, you know, knowledge we can actually use to change our experience. And I truly believe that this journey, these experiences lead us to that collective truth that we all seek. So that I really think that dreaming reunites us to ourselves, but also to others around us as well. I wish humanity was able to collectively recognize how weird being a human is more often. I think it would solve a lot of empathy gaps, totally. And, you know, I truly hope that as many people as possible just take a moment to ask, like, what is this? Who am I? Why am I here? What's going on? You know, like, I remember when I started asking those questions, and I was like, why doesn't everybody ask them? And I think a lot of people, I think it's kind of rooted in fear. I think a lot of people have talked about it, but I think if we can remove the fear and create more curiosity and create experiences like this that are safe and open to experiences that can happen spontaneously without any work, you know, like we can get a glimpse of our truth when we're sleeping in bed. We can get a glimpse of more than we've been told is out there just from an instant by sleeping in our bed, you know. And so that's why I hope that as many people as possible have a spontaneous dream experience or lucid dream experience or out-of-body experience that really changes their perspective on who they are, what is possible, and what we're truly meant to experience. And through creating your own bliss in these experiences, you realize that life is too short to not feel this bliss and this love and playfulness all the time. And so I think that the more we dream, the bigger it allows us to dream for our waking lives, you know? So I definitely think they're super, super connected. I'm gonna make that. I ask myself that literally all the time. Oh, that's one thing that I need to do soon is I need to create a new collection for the merch shop. So if you guys have ideas on what you want to see for merchandise, just like that, Rory, please let me know. You can just send it to me like in a message. You can send it to me on Telegram, whatever. But every collection or drop that I do, I ask you guys about what kind of stuff you'd like to see for the merch shop. There's tons of stuff. I don't want to get into it. We have so many things. We have pillows, blankets, tapestries, mugs, leggings, socks, hoodies, tank tops, t-shirts, hats, you know, canteens, wine glasses, mugs. We have a lot of stuff on the merch shop. So if there's anything you want to see on any of those items that you think would be funny or quirky, or, you know, something that's kind of related to dreaming, or anything that's kind of like an inside joke or anything for this community, throw them at me, dude. Because I definitely need to, you know, release a new collection. I want it to be cool, and I want it to be fun. I want us all to have, you know, a good amount of input into it. So let me know. Let me know. I'm here. I'm here. Maybe I'll have to choose the date for the collection. That way you guys can submit some ideas. But I definitely want to do that, Rory, because I want that. I'm doing that. I'm just going to write that down. Hopefully I know what it means later. I'm just going to put, what is this? Who am I? What are we doing? If I find that later and get confused, I think I'll know what I'm talking about. That's definitely a shirt that I want to make for sure. Yeah. And send them over to me for sure. That'd be super cool. Thanks guys for hanging out with me, and thank you for showing up even, is it Wednesday? Yeah, even on a Wednesday. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope that this helped you. Yup. Either way, it will get me to be a little bit more present, be like, wait, what the hell? That's the key, that's the goal, right? A little bit more presence. I'm definitely making that though. I'm definitely gonna make that. Thank you guys so much. Again, we go live every Monday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, unless something happens or we need to change the time, in which then I either post on here or I update you guys in Telegram. So if you'd like some updates on the content, on live streams, all that good stuff, then make sure to join the Telegram. I also do have a Patreon, so you can kind of support the work that I'm doing and also receive some really cool perks and benefits. So if you guys are interested in becoming a Patreon, definitely check that out. I do have a private Facebook group for all patrons where there's lots of classes going to be posted, guided meditations, breath work. You guys can also connect in there. I really wanted a place where you, patrons could actually connect with each other and actually we could all just talk and hang out. So I did create that recently, and it's super, super cool. So yeah, if you want to join or you have any questions, just definitely let me know. All of your support helps. Thank you again for the $20. You guys are really, really sweet. I love showing up for you, and I can't wait to chat with you guys again. There are going to be really cool offers coming up. I have like 3 different programs that I'm in the middle of creating right now, so I will keep you guys up to date on that. Make sure to subscribe to the second channel, Lucid Mystic Sleep Music, if you like lucid dreaming and out-of-body experience, binaural beats, sleep music. I've been having a lot of fun on there. I've been posting a lot. It's really, really cool. I finally have some editing software where I can actually make some cool stuff. So I've just been having fun. I haven't been feeling good the past week, so I haven't really been posting a whole lot. I've mostly just been working with clients and trying to stay caught up on my second channel and be doing the live streams and stuff on this channel. But a lot more will be coming. You're amazing. Thank you for allowing me to No, I love that, Rory. Thank you. Thank you for your service. I appreciate you. Thank you. I love you too. I'm grateful for you too. And Cypher, thank you again, dude, for the $4. I appreciate you. Your guys' support in whatever way that is really, really helps me continue to do what I'm doing. Like, this is my main thing. You know, this whole dreamy shit that I'm doing, yeah, this is my whole life, dude. I've been, like, all my classes are based around this. Like, all of my time, either putting it into this community or my personal practice, it's all related to this. And so I'm just really grateful to be able to share my personal journey and be able to guide you guys on yours at the same time, and all come together as a beautiful community. It means so much to me. So thank you guys again. And again, thank you, Cypher, for the $24 today. Yes, Roy. I love it. Did a great service today. Thank you guys. I love you so much, and I will talk to you later. And as always, I'm sending you endless love and endless lucidity. Let me know how it goes, guys. If you know, use some of the stuff you learned today to decipher your dreams. I would love to hear about it. So let me know. Post in the Facebook group or the Telegram group, or comment on anything. any of my stuff, and I'll see it. Okay. Love you. Bye.